Have you ever stopped to think about how our ancestors slept? Before beds, mattresses, and pillows, sleep was a completely different experience. Imagine yourself surrounded by the wilderness, without the technology we have today, and still managing to rest effectively. What seemed like a simple act of sleeping in prehistoric times actually involved much more than just closing your eyes. And most surprisingly, sleep wasn't just about rest. It was also a survival strategy. In this article, we'll explore the incredible and curious ways prehistoric humans approach sleep and how this teaches us about our natural needs today. Stay with me until the end to discover how these ancient habits may somehow hold the key to improving your sleep and quality of life today. Don't miss it. In prehistoric times, fire was more than just a source of heat or light. It was a true tool of protection. Imagine yourself on a dark night, surrounded by predators that move in the shadows. Fire, with its vibrant flame and constant heat, became the thin line between life and death. It warded off wild animals and provided a sense of security, as well as helping to light the way during the night's vigil. Early humans, nomadic and vulnerable, depended on this essential protection. Besides warding off predators, fire also played a crucial role in socialization and group organization. Around the campfire, hunter-gatherers not only warmed themselves, but also shared stories and experiences. This circle of light was more than a meeting place, it was a space for social connection. Imagine the sense of belonging and security that a simple fire provided on a cold, silent night, when the sound of the jungle could easily turn into a nightmare. The strategy of using fire as protection also had a profound impact on sleep habits. When safety was assured, it was easier to adopt a split sleep pattern. Instead of sleeping deeply for long hours, prehistoric humans frequently alternated between periods of rest and vigilance. Fire kept enemies at bay, but nighttime vigilance was still essential to ensure everyone was safe during biphasic sleep. Fire, then, was not just a resource, it was a promise of collective security. In prehistoric times, sleep wasn't a continuous activity as we understand it today. Instead, our ancestors followed a biphasic pattern to sleep periods. After nightfall and groups gathered around the fire, they slept for a few hours. However, throughout the night, they would often get up to survey the environment, reinforce security, or even eat something light. This biphasic pattern was closely linked to natural rhythms and survival needs. This fragmented sleep, though uncomfortable at first glance, had a clear evolutionary purpose. Sleep was a vulnerable time, and the division into two phases allowed the group to remain alert during the night. At the same time, the division between deep sleep and waking periods provided the rest necessary to maintain energy during the day. This helped ensure survival in a world where any distraction could result in a predatory attack. Over time, humans adapted to this pattern, which was evolutionarily more effective than a full night of continuous sleep. Modern studies show that this biphasic sleep cycle still resonates with some of us, especially during times of stress or changes in daily rhythm. What's interesting is how the evolution of sleep is directly connected to living conditions, such as the need for wakefulness and protection, a direct reflection of prehistoric social and environmental dynamics. Living as hunter-gatherers had its advantages, but it also posed unique challenges, especially when it came to sleep. Early humans lacked the comfort of beds or fixed shelters. Sleeping outdoors, often under the stars or near trees and vegetation, was an adaptive necessity. Nomadic life required groups to be constantly on the move, and choosing a resting place had to be strategic. Safety, shelter, and proximity to food sources were crucial. This type of outdoor sleep shaped the behavior and natural rhythms of early humans. Natural moonlight or the sound of wind in the trees directly influenced the sleep cycle. The difference between a safe and vulnerable location could be the choice of flat terrain or makeshift shelter under a cliff. Outdoor living also meant that rest was not as deep as that of someone sleeping in a sheltered environment. The senses were always alert to surrounding sounds and movements, making sleep a time of constant vigilance. Furthermore, sleeping outdoors fostered a deep connection with nature. Imagine the feeling of being completely immersed in the vastness of the natural world, with the starry sky as your roof and nature as your protection. For many, this connection with the natural elements also created a sense of belonging and continuity. It was a simple yet meaningful sleep, linked to a primal harmony with the environment and the natural cycle of day and night. Caves played a fundamental role in the lives of early humans, not only as shelter from the cold and predators, but also as a refuge for sleeping. Cave interiors provided a safer, more controlled environment away from the elements that could threaten life outdoors. Furthermore, caves offered a milder temperature, protecting hunter-gatherers from extreme weather variations, such as intense nighttime cold. Sleeping inside them was undoubtedly a strategic advantage. Inside caves, sleep was more protected and less vulnerable. The narrow entrance limited access to predators, making it more difficult for them to invade. This type of shelter also allowed for greater social organization, with group members gathering around a fire, creating a sense of security and togetherness. The cave thus became a meeting place where not only sleep took place, but also the exchange of stories and experiences that united group members. Although caves provided a safe haven, not all humans use them equally. Some tribes prefer to build temporary shelters around areas with more natural resources, such as water or food, while others sought the protection of caves for longer periods. However, in all situations, the concept of a nocturnal refuge was a determining factor for survival, ensuring deeper, more restful sleep without the constant fear of predators. Sleeping in groups or cold sleep was one of the primary survival strategies of early humans. In a time when predators were always lurking, security increased when everyone gathered around a fire to sleep. In addition to protection from external threats, collective sleep fosters a sense of belonging and trust, fundamental to group cohesion. The idea that survival depended on joint effort profoundly shaped hunter-gatherers' sleep dynamics. This collective sleep also strengthened social bonds. By sleeping together, group members create a network of emotional and physical support essential for coping with the adversities of nomadic life. The simple act of sharing space and nighttime vigil fostered a sense of security that transcended the physical. Furthermore, social interaction during rest helped cement trusting relationships, creating a support network that could be vital in times of crisis. On the other hand, shared nighttime vigilance was also an essential part of this collective sleep. While some rested, others kept watch, keeping an eye out for any suspicious movement. This system of sleep shifts was natural and effective, ensuring the group was always protected. Sleeping together, then, was not only a matter of physical proximity, but also a strategic arrangement that increased the chances of survival by balancing rest and vigilance. Night watch was a fundamental part of prehistoric group dynamics. Because sleep was often biphasic, with intervals between vigils, group members took turns to ensure they were always alert for any threat. This shift system not only provided protection, but also helped maintain social cohesion. Shared vigilance created a sense of mutual responsibility, where each member knew their safety depended on everyone's cooperation. Beyond security, the night watch served an important social function. While some rested, others remained silent, observing the environment but also sharing stories and experiences. These moments of vigil were opportunities to strengthen bonds between group members, keeping the group's culture and values alive. Conversations around the campfire, sharing experiences, and even the songs and rituals performed during the night were ways to reinforce the group's identity. These watch shifts were not only a matter of safety, but also of psychological balance. The alternation between rest and alertness helped keep everyone emotionally prepared for any challenge. Mutual trust during these periods, knowing that everyone was vigilant, created a sense of unity and emotional support. The night watch, therefore, was not just a defense mechanism, but a social practice that cemented group cohesion and reinforced the importance of collective work. Nature played a crucial role in shaping prehistoric human sleep patterns. The rhythm of day and night, dictated by sunlight and darkness, directly influenced when people slept and when they were active. Without electric light or technology to prolong the night, early humans were in tune with natural cycles. When the sun set, the body naturally began preparing for rest, and with sunrise, everyone was ready to begin a new day of hunting or gathering. Furthermore, the sounds of nature also played a significant role in sleep quality. The chirping of crickets, the wind in the trees, or the distant sounds of nocturnal animals helped regulate rest cycles. These sounds were an integral part of the nighttime environment, creating a sense of continuity and harmony with the world around us. At the same time, the changing seasons also impacted sleep patterns, with shorter nights in summer and longer in winter, which naturally influenced the amount of rest needed. Nature also determined which types of sleep were deeper or shallower. During quieter, warmer nights, sleep could be more restorative, while on cold or restless nights, the need for vigilance and alertness kept sleep lighter. This sleep pattern, influenced by nature, was an evolutionary adaptation to ensure the group was in harmony with the environment, allowing humans to maintain their physical and psychological balance while protecting themselves from any threat. With the advent of agriculture and the transition to a more sedentary lifestyle, human sleep patterns began to change. Previously, as hunter-gatherers, people slept in response to the immediate needs of survival, adjusting their sleep cycles to the unpredictability of nature. However, with the domestication of plants and animals, settled communities emerged, enabling a new organization of time. People began to sleep more deeply at night, with less need for vigilance, as they were in a safer and more stable environment. Furthermore, agriculture brought with it the regularization of daily tasks, such as planting and harvesting, which favored more predictable sleep rhythm. The routine of working in the fields, with sunrise and the need to rest at the end of the day, led to a more continuous sleep pattern, far from the previous biphasic pattern. However, this new lifestyle also brought with it a greater dependence on factors, such as weather and crops, altering rest periods according to seasons. With the advancement of agriculture, new forms of housing and infrastructure also emerged, such as houses and villages, which provided greater comfort and privacy for sleep. Caves and temporary shelters gave way to more robust constructions, allowing people to have more continuous and restful rest. This change was not only physical, but also cultural sleep began to be viewed more individually, whereas in nomadic life, collective sleep was a norm. In prehistoric times, sleep and dreams were more than just biological or physical processes. They were deeply connected to spirituality. Many ancient cultures believed dreams were a form of communication with spirits and ancestors. For hunter-gatherers, sleep could be seen as a gateway to the spirit world, where they received guidance or visions about hunting, survival, or future events. Dreams were interpreted as signs, and group members often shared their nocturnal experiences to seek wisdom or advice. Furthermore, sleep and nocturnal rituals were often connected to the myths and beliefs of early societies. Some tribes believed that during sleep, their souls traveled to another plane of existence, where they interacted with gods or nature spirits. This made the time of rest even more sacred. Sleep was not only necessary for physical recovery, but also seen as a way to maintain connection with the divine and ancestors, reinforcing the group's spiritual bond with the universe around them. Sleep rituals, such as chanting, prayer, or meditation, were also common in many prehistoric cultures. These ritualized moments of rest provided not only physical relief, but also spiritual strengthening. People believed that adequate sleep was a way to honor the spirits and ensure protection. The way sleep was viewed as a spiritual experience reflects the worldview of early societies, where the physical and spiritual were intrinsically connected, creating a holistic view of human beings and the universe. As the millennia passed and civilizations advanced, sleep became increasingly a private and individual experience. In modern times, we have private bedrooms, comfortable beds, and even devices to improve our sleep quality. This transformation represents a significant shift from prehistoric times, when communal sleep and nighttime vigilance were the norm. Today, while privacy is considered essential for mental health and well-being, we may even feel a disconnect from the bonds of trust that communal sleep fostered. Sleep privacy isn't just a matter of physical space, but also of time. In a highly connected world, where we're constantly bombarded with stimuli, sleep has become a personal refuge, away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. However, while we seek this isolation to recharge our batteries, the lack of social interactions during rest can have negative effects, such as feelings of loneliness or disconnection. Interestingly, humans throughout history have always seemed to find ways to balance privacy with social connection, something that's often lost in modern times. While sleep privacy has its advantages in the modern world, it also brings new challenges. Our reliance on technologies like smartphones and artificial light has altered our natural sleep patterns, moving us away from the rhythms that were once so in tune with nature. The search for comfort and solitude during sleep, while necessary in many cases, also raises questions. Is it possible to restore some aspects of ancient collective sleep patterns without sacrificing privacy? Or should we reinvent the concept of community and rest in today's world? Now that you've discovered the fascinating sleep habits of prehistory, it's impossible not to reflect on how our modern sleep has transformed. How did early humans use nature and social interaction to ensure rest and security? Can we apply some of this balance to our lives today with so many distractions around us? If you're interested in these interesting facts about sleep and want to continue exploring how our ancestors shaped practices that can still influence our well-being, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Let's uncover more secrets from the past together and how they can improve our lives. Don't miss the next content.